Well, hello my lovelies, it's Murky Meg here. It's Monday the 27th of September and this is the fifth part in a series of videos that I will be discussing the extract of the upcoming book by Valentine Low called Courtiers, The Hidden Power Behind the Crown. If you haven't already seen my previous 4 videos, I've clicked a link up in the top right hand corner that will take you to all 4 parts. Now in my previous video I discussed what happened on the Australia tour, and this follows on from that a couple of months after the South Pacific tour, it was the fact that Jason Naff, who was the communications secretary, had rumblings and had heard rumblings and had seen what had happened behind closed doors and how Meghan and Harry himself were treating their staff. Now, Jason Naff escalated this to Simon Case, who was the head of HR at the particular time, and Jason Naff handed in his notice. Now, these allegations towards Meghan and Harry, towards their staff, caused a massive shake-up within Kensington Palace. Can you remember? They had the Royal Foundation where both couples were together, and then there was this massive split and nobody knew why. But the split became obvious when these allegations raised their head before the Oprah Winfrey interview, and then everybody said that that was the particular time that these allegations were being raised, and that was why the foundation split. It was William that said enough is enough, you need to go. And that's where Sussex Royal was born. It was their foundation. So we had the Royal Foundation, which was now the Prince and Princess of Wales. It was then the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. But then we had the Sussex Royal, which was Harry and Meghan. But of course, they wanted everything. They wanted to dictate where their offices were, who their staff were, how many they had, what happened. But these foundations have a rigorous protocol. They even wanted their offices within Windsor Castle. Funny anecdote is that before they were offered Frogmore Cottage, they suggested that they have a suite within Windsor Castle. Who does that? Who requests to live with their granny? Obviously, as we are well aware, Granny, i.e. the late Queen, God rest her soul, said no and gave them Frogmore Cottage. But at least they did get a relatively large team, and it included a private secretary, 2 assistant private secretaries, a communications secretary, and 2 other communications officers, as well as administrative staff. This is where Sarah Latham came in. Do you remember her? Gosh, it's been a while, hasn't it? She was supposed to be the PR guru that was going to change everything around, that she was going to push Sussex Royal forward and forefront. This then gave the opportunity for Samantha Cohen, who had originally just agreed to stay on to help the Sussexes in their new role as being part of working royal family members. She was then able to leave her post, and a source said that Sam always made it clear that it was like working for a couple of teenagers. They were impossible and pushed her to her limit. She was miserable. It says that she was constantly having to battle on Harry and Meghan's behalf while taking all of this abuse from them. She also found herself getting more and more involved in their personal life and having to arrange that for them. And that's not appropriate for a private secretary. So we had Sarah Latham as PR guru, but Samantha Cohen's replacement was a lady called Fiona McIlwam. Now, can you remember when Sarah Latham joined? It was like a massive push forward, like I said, for Sussex Royal, and everything seemed to be just peachy. Apparently not from behind the scenes. Sarah Latham had to battle with the media and everything that was going on, and it became particularly bad during the very lavish baby shower in New York. Remember that? I think we all remember that, don't we? Took us all by surprise. And then she had to deal with the birth of Archie, because there was so much going on behind the scenes. It was like shrouded in secrecy, and there were a lot of questions with regards to that. I know a lot of you are very, very hesitant on what actually happened. And because it was so secretive, and the lies that came, we were told that she was in labour when in fact she had actually given birth. I say this in the loosest of terms, I really, really do, because I'm well aware of everybody's thoughts on this one, but I don't want my channel taken down. But there was a lot of backlash with regards to the announcement and how it happened. It wasn't like a normal royal birth. And a lot of people said, hang on a minute, you as working royals have to abide by certain protocols that taxpayers are expected to see and hear about royal birth announcements. That didn't happen. That raised everybody's heckles up. Sarah Latham had to cope with the media fallout. She wasn't very happy, apparently. Then she also had to deal with the fallout with regards to the private jet. Hoo-ha. Can you remember when Harry went to Italy on Google's private jet with Leonardo DiCaprio, and then Meghan and him took another 4 private jets in less than a week to visit Ibiza and the south of France, which in fact Sarah Latham advised Harry against taking private jets because he was literally only a week prior to that saying, oh, climate change, climate change, climate change, we all need to do our bit. But hey ho, let's pop on loads of private jets. Woohoo! Yeah, Sarah Latham told them not to do that, apparently. They didn't listen. She had to clear up the mess. A lot of people were wondering just how long Sarah Latham was able to hack it with them because they weren't listening to her. They weren't being guided by her. But everybody was acutely aware that the Sussex staff were dropping like flies and joining the Sussex Survivors Club. And by God, if you left, you had to have a damn good excuse. Because the media had picked up on people leaving in droves from the Sussex camp. And they were starting to ask the question, why? Next to leave was Amy Pickerel, who was Meghan's assistant private secretary. And at the time, Meghan said that her departure was very sad, but was amicable. Well, when Meghan actually found out that Amy had handed in her notice, she was so angry that she refused to let her travel in the car with her at an official engagement in London that morning. I mean, just think about this. You're a boss, yeah, and your staff member hands in their notice. You shun them. That's not appropriate behaviour, is it? How on earth would have Amy have felt? So, towards the mid-2019, apparently things were awful and tense within the Sussex household. There were cues that Harry and Meghan did not see their long-term future as working members of the royal family. Whisperings were starting to happen. Africa tour was soon approaching, and apparently there was nothing in the diary after that Africa tour. Nothing at all. So staff were going, what's going down? And at this time, her US business partners started to become on the scenes. Their presence was made aware of everyone working within the Sussex camp. Now, we had Meghan's business manager, Andrew Mayer, her lawyer, Rick Grenno, as well as her agent, Nick Collins, and Kayleigh Thomas Morgan of Sunshine Sachs. This was August 2019. Now, the team began to be made aware that there were deals being discussed about the Sussexes for the Sussexes that didn't fall into the remit of the royal protocol, which means that the Netflix deal was being discussed, apparently, and Harry's mental health series with Apple with Oprah Winfrey and Meghan's voiceover for Disney. That's right, these deals were being discussed while they were royal family members. So the writing really was well and truly on the cards with regards to staff knowing what was coming. What's even worse was, according to Valentine Low, he said, while preparing for the Africa tour, the team are trying to persuade the couple that it would be appropriate to do an interview with the British media. Samantha Cohen suggested Tom Bradby of ITV, which we saw them do of the Africa tour. You remember the old, nobody's asked me if I'm okay malarkey? Well, apparently, Meghan's attention was focused on the prospect of doing an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Yes, she had it all lined up in August 2019. And that's why neither of them would agree to be jointly interviewed by Tom Bradby of ITV. They had to do it separately. Otherwise, they would break their deal with Oprah. Yep, Harry and Meghan could not do an interview together. That would go against their deal with Oprah, which at the point was scheduled for autumn of 2019. That obviously didn't happen until March 2021, but it was in the pipeline before they even left. It was this particular ITV show, interview / whatever it was, that caused an even bigger gap in the rift already forming between Harry and Prince William. Now, the trailer came out while the Prince and Princess of Wales were on tour in Pakistan, resulting in their coverage being completely obliterated, all for Harry and Meghan's coverage of the upcoming interview with ITV. When it had aired, there was an even bigger rift, if that's even possible, because you remember when Harry said about William, we're certainly on different paths at the moment, but I will always be there for him, as I know he will always be there for me. Didn't go down too well with William, apparently. But apparently William reached out because he was shocked to see how unhappy the couple were. A day after the ITV documentary aired, it said that William WhatsApped Harry to ask if he could come and see him. This apparently put Harry into an absolute tailspin. Initially, apparently Harry was in favour. Then he spoke to his brother again and asked him who would he tell. William explained that he would have to clear his schedule, which would mean telling his private secretary. At this point, Harry said, "Don't come." It's claimed that Harry was so concerned that William's team would leak the visit to the press that he would rather they didn't come than risk getting into the papers. That's how paranoid he got. And then it was just 5 months later that Harry and Meghan announced that they would step down from being working members of the royal family. And there I will leave you until the next video. So I would love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think the writing was always on the wall? Do you think they were never ever happy in the position that they took within the royal family? Do you think that because they were always going to be on the back burner behind the Prince and Princess of Wales, that they could never truly come into their own light? Or do you think that there was always going to be a place for them if they learnt how to fit into the hierarchy? I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell and also that like button. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers for all the tips and all the emails, DMs that everybody sends to me. It really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching once again.